Hey guys, today I'm going to be tying one of everybody's favorite fly, the pumpkin head. This pattern was designed by John Kent right here in BC, and today I'm going to be tying on a Togens curved nymph hook in size 14 with a 2x gap. I'm going to be using their tangerine color brass bead, size 1/8 for this bug. I'll be using some waspy select marabou plumes. You can tie this in olive, you can tie it in light olive, dark olive, browns, yellows. Seems to do the trick. I'll be using some Arizona semi-seal in peacock. That color is a great color for the body of this bug. I'll be tying with UTC 70 in olive color today. And then for the hackle, I'll be using some burnt orange grizzly hackle. You can pick that up from Togens as well. So to begin with, I'm going to dress the hook all the way down to the butt end of this hook. It gives the marabou a little something to grip onto and keeps it from sliding around your hook so you can get it nice and centered. You can use orange glass beads for this as well as some orange fluorescent beads, depending on the depth you're fishing and water clarity. I really like these tangerine color beads from Togens. So with your marabou plumes, you want to get some really light and wispy, some good character plumes out of this, and trim this to about 1.5 lengths of this hook. It's a really good video that Rick Pasek does as well with this pumpkin head. Be sure to check that out on YouTube. And here we're going to start with some loose wraps around the marabou so that it keeps it from sliding side to side of the hook. We'll wrap a couple of wraps underneath the tail section of those fibers just to lift it up. When the water hits those tail fibers, it tends to bend it around the curve of the hook, and this will keep it looking as natural as possible. And then as you go back up the length of the hook, you can apply a little bit more tension to the thread and really secure that marabou in. And then here I've just trimmed a little triangle anchor in this burnt orange hackle. And that just helps to hold that hackle right in to the tail section of this bug. And then here you're going to want to use this Arizona semi-seal. It's peacock color. It is fantastic. It's got little shades of teal that shimmer through and kind of a nice dark olive color for the body. Start your dubbing noodle as thin as possible and then give it a wrap to get that just tucked into the thread, and then you're going to do some clockwise turns on this dubbing to make sure that you get it nice and tight and concise, those wraps just in front of each other, and then continue to build up that taper. I want to talk a little bit about how to fish this fly. A lot of different varieties that you can do. You can troll with this, you can cast it on a intermediate line or a full sink line and just give it some good little hand twist retrieves or short quick pulls. It'll turn some heads. As well, I do tie this one in a balanced pattern. So that can be really effective just under an indicator with a dead drift if you have a little bit of water chop. The fish go crazy for this bug for whatever reasons. It imitates some leech patterns, it imitates some damsel patterns. I'm sure it can be taken for a scud. Once you build up your dubbing near the head of this fly, you want to make sure that you get nice and tight to that bead and build up some thickness as well. Then just pinch off any excess dubbing that you have. I like to always give it a little whip finish and tuck it out of the way so that it's nice and secure, and then it's not going to go anywhere when you're messing around with the soft hackle. I'm using today a Renzetti Traveler vise, and so they have that nice bobbin cradle. It really helps just to get the thread out of the way, and then you can have your hands free to work on this bug. Just kind of cleaning up a few of these dubbing fibers as you go before you start this wrap. And with this hackle, I always wrap counterclockwise so that it does not get buried into the bug. You can strip down one side of the fibers on these feathers to give it a nice sparse look. but this bug I'm going pretty thick and pretty chunky. Totally depends on, you know, the different bodies of water that you fish, the different feeding habits, but I've had some success with this particular fly when you keep it nice and robust, and those spiky hairs turn some heads for sure. At the end of this, near the bead, I always do 2 wraps of the fibers just to make sure that the head is nice and thick, and then we'll tie off that hackle, a couple wraps in behind and 1 wrap in front, snip away the extra there, and then we'll give it a nice whip finish to make sure that it's secure. And then a little secret, as you're finishing this bug, to hide some of that thread, I will add a little bit of dubbing as well, just a nice thin amount, and then it just hides that collar, makes it stand out, and it's nice and clean. I'm sure the fish don't mind if it's a little haggard looking, but I sure mind. It's got to be pretty precise. And then near the end of this, give it a couple of whip finishes here, just for some added security. You can use a little bit of varnish or glue, but with the thread tucked in behind the bead head there, these patterns are pretty durable. You can as well do a variation of this fly with some ribbing, and I may tie in another video down the road to show that technique. Just adds for a little bit of durability in the body. And then once you're almost finished here, you just trim the marabou fibers just to length there. You want it still nice and sparse. You never want to trim these with your scissors. Just pinch these off and make it look nice and haggard and natural. And there you guys have it. That is the pumpkin head. Give it a tie, and we'll see you on the waters.